Okay, today I want to get back to this painting I did of my friend Joe. This is Joe when he was hot, when he was like 30. This thing came out pretty good, I thought, the first session. And what I like about it, or what I like about the photograph, is that there's a nice shadow. There's some nice shadows there. I think he had a friend who was a professional photographer who took this shot, and the shadows are very cool there. So I'm going to try and duplicate that look on this painting. And before I do that, because I talk about shadows a lot, I want to show some examples of how some really good painters use that when they do their portraits. And the painters I've decided to use are, well, I'll show you right now. So this is a painting of Max Beckman, a painting of his wife, and Max Beckman is probably my all-time favorite painter. I have a lot of favorite painters, but I think he goes to the top of the list because when I first started painting, I really didn't know what I was doing, of course, but I had an idea of what I would like to do as a painter, and the painter I chose to imitate was Max Beckman because his paintings seemed very, very simple and very strong, you know, and just the way he drew and his use of color, I said, that's something I might be able to do. I could never paint like the great classic Renaissance painters or painters like John Sargent or painters like that, or Lucian Freud, for example. I didn't think I could ever paint like that, but I thought I might be able to paint something like this. So anyway, let's talk about this painting just a little bit. And the shadows, see all these shadows here on that side. The light source, there's always, generally you want to use a single light source. You don't want two light sources. You want a single light source. It's either coming directly from the front, into the front of the face, or from the side. In this painting, it's coming from her right side, okay? So the left side of her face is going to be in shadow, like all these shadows. And then even on the right side, there's going to be some areas of shadow underneath the cheek there, underneath the nose, the philtrum area there, and around the eye. Also here on the neck, you know, you can see the shadows. So that's one example. Let's go to another one of my favorite painters. Here's Picasso. This was when he was in his neoclassical phase, like in the 20s. And one of his earlier phases, like the blue phase and the pink phase, like around the turn of the century, he did a lot of figurative work, you know, portraits and stuff. Then he got into cubism, and but at some point in the 20s, he went back from cubism. He went back to this sort of, they called it the neoclassical mode. Same thing, the light source is coming from over here, and the shadows are on this side. There's always a shadow under the nose, then on the neck. And then let's take one more painting, one more painter. Rembrandt. This is a self-portrait when he was a young man. Rembrandt, of course, is the classical, great Renaissance type painter. And same thing, we got the light source coming from his right, all these shadows over here. And the way he got his effects mostly was by using a glaze. You know, he would paint the whole face sort of in a lighter tone, and then he would use a dark glaze, very, very thin. He used a lot of, I think his formula was like thinner, maybe 50% thinner and 50% linseed oil, which and very, very thin glaze, a dark glaze, and he would rub out certain areas that he wanted to highlight. Then he would let it dry, and gradually he would build up a layer of these glazes that was that was transparent, very transparent, and that's how his paintings got this effect. All right, so anyway, that's my little lecture on shadows. Now we'll get back to see what I can do in the shadow department. Now for my medium, for the glaze, I'm going to use a combination of cerulean blue and cadmium red light. Sometimes usually I use viridian green and alizarin crimson. I've used that in a lot of the other paintings. But I'm going to try the cerulean blue with some cadmium red light. Okay, so I'm putting on the glaze. I don't know if I want to cover the whole. It's sort of a dark purple. It's a little muddy, this glaze, which is not ideal but I've used it in the past with good effect. And I like to see some of the red in it over here. Now, first of all, that's not in the right place because the light source is coming from his right. So all the shadows should be over here. All right, so that's got too much red in it, and it's a little thick. Should really thin it out a little bit more, but anyway, anyway, I just want to get this whole side of the face in shadow. Now over here, see here's the philtrum. Can't see that. Let's take a closer look at the picture. So all the left side of his face is almost all in shadow. There's going to be a little highlight right here where the cheek bone is. The philtrum right here under the nose, see there's a little bit of shadow on that side, on the right side of the philtrum, and there's a highlight right there on the left side, on his left side. And then all this is in shadow here, so that's where I'm going for. See, in the first, my first session with the painting, the whole philtrum area came in black. I don't have but I can fix that. That's not a problem. I have to lay a little bit of. I've already got the shadow in there. I just have to lay a little bit of white down here, but. Also the hair, I guess I got to get some in the hair. Well, the hair is all black. The hair is black, so it's already in shadow. The whole head of hair is. All right, I got to get it down here anyway. Yeah, that comes last. I don't want to do that right now. Okay. So now what do? Now, the only thing I really need to do is, I'm not happy with the way the glaze is on. I'm going to rub out some of it. I'm going to rub it out, okay? Because you'll still get the effect of shadow. And I want some highlights. I just want one highlight really on that side of the face, right here. where the cheekbone is, you know. And then, okay. Now, I'll do some more. See, it's more red than blue, and I'm not sure exactly if I like that or if I want more blue in there. I'll put a little more blue in there. It's a nice combination. But the way Rembrandt did it was very, very thin glaze, very, very thin. And then rub out a little for the highlights, let it dry. Next day come back, another, when it was dry, another very, very thin glaze, rub it out some more, maybe at the same time put in the highlights with some white or something. But he used a lot of, he repeated that technique maybe many times, you know, to slowly build up a very heavy glaze, but it's very transparent, and that's what gives his paintings that glow, you know. I don't do that. I just put down a couple. My paintings don't have a glow. They have a different look, but the idea is the same, you know, to put down a kind of a thin. This is actually pretty thick, but that's okay. And see, this is starting to look good, actually. Put down a glaze, rub out the highlights, come back, wait till it dries, come back the next day, maybe put down another glaze. I don't do too many, maybe one or two at the most, but and I might even rub it down again. Maybe I'll just rub it down again. Also, instead of rubbing it down, I can thin out my brush with some thinner and sponge out, you know, the highlights. And then that blend, that has more of a blending effect. See, if I want to kind of blend this, the shadow here at the nose, you know, not make it so sharp, I just put a lot of thinner on my brush, wipe it out a little bit, and then where else? See, yeah, so then there's a highlight here. I'll show you, for example, let's say if I covered too much of this, that's too, I don't want shadow there, but I can get rid of it by sponging out a little with the brush, see? Instead of rubbing it, I can just sponge it out. It's starting to look good, actually. I should really be using a bigger brush for this. All right. That's good. Now I'll put some flesh tones on this side of the face, and then when all this dries, tomorrow, the next time, I'll put a highlight here. The next time I can come in after it's dry and maybe add just another thin layer of glaze to darken it up. I want to darken it up. It's still not, I want it a little darker than this. It's not quite, but I don't want to do it all at once. I want to do it in maybe 2 or even 3 applications. That's the thing. A la Rembrandt, you know, although he did 10, 15, 20, who knows. His paintings took a long time. He spent a lot of time on those paintings. I don't do that, and I don't have the patience for that. See, now here, if you look at the portrait, if you can can see that. Right here, there's a little highlight where his Adam's apple is, you know. So I can do that very easily, so just by rubbing out that part there, you know. I need a bigger brush, but this is all right. So that's pretty good for now. I'll come back. First, I'll put the flesh tones in now on this side of the face. I need to do some work on the hair, and then. But as far as the shadows go, that's not too bad for the time being. It's also got a little, just a slight highlight right here, the edge of the mouth. All right, so for the flesh tones, I'm going to use the cadmium red. My usual, well, it's far too much paint. Way too much paint. Try not to get it mixed in with this, with the glaze. Also, there's a shadow here. I didn't put it in. I'll do that now. Right here, you know. Okay. Have to rub this out. Now for the Naples yellow. See, it's the effect that as soon as I put this down, this Naples yellow, and you've got the shadow on this side, it just pops it. You know, the contrast between the light, you know, the Naples yellow and the dark shadow, that's what makes the painting. Starting to look good, actually. Starting to look pretty good, I think. Let's see. I need a smaller brush, but Forgot to put some red in his mouth. See, I'll leave the upper lip a little bit dark because there's always a shadow there. But the upper lip is usually in shadow, you know, because it overhangs. So in the painting, the philtrum, this part of the philtrum on his left side is got a highlight. So I want to put that in, and then the mouth, of course. Ooh, that looks good. You never know with the mouth what's going to happen. It's tough. This nostril here. These highlights will I'll go over them again the next time. Maybe another once or twice I might go over them. Let's see, where else? Then here. That's too much. It's too much. It's oh, it's kind of nice where it blends in there. A little more there. And then here, more. And maybe just once more on the nose if I don't mess it up. Which is always a possibility. Oh, that doesn't look bad. More here. It's starting to look good. Not too bad. What would Max Beckman think? Jack, I like it. Not too bad, Jack. Not quite in my league yet, but Max Beckman during the war, you know, he lived in Germany in the 20s and 30s. So during the war, he was on Hitler's list because of his painting style. You know, Hitler wasn't into expressionism, but so he lived in Holland during the war. He was able to emigrate to Holland and get out of Germany, and then after the war, he came to the United States, and he was friendly with a man who was the son of the person who founded the May Company. What the heck was his name? Mr. May, anyway. But so he was friendly. This guy liked Beckman's painting, so he was a patron and helped him out. Got a teaching job for him in St. Louis, I think it was, and eventually he died in the United States. So, what do I want to do here? I think that's enough for the face for today. The hair, it's starting to look good. Yeah, the upper lip. I want it sort of dark. Yeah. I might, when it dries, I might hit it just a little bit at the top of the lip. But this area here, underneath the philtrum, now is always in shadow. The Filtrum, I'm not too happy with that. The way it, gotta scoop it out a little bit. Yeah, that's no good, but oh, that's better. That's good. All right, that's enough. Now, for the hair, I think, see, if you look at the portrait, on his right side, the hair is not as voluminous, I don't know. But in my painting, I think I have too much hair on his right side. I want to change that a little bit. I noticed that when I finished the other day. For example, in the painting, this right here is okay. Then it comes out. There's too much over here, so I want to just do something like this, and then here it comes down and curls in. Yeah, something like that. Now for the hair, the color, his hair is black, and that's what I want to use. First of all, what I'll do is, just to get rid of this, do that. Give me more of an outline here. Then over here, I think maybe I got too much over here. This side, maybe I want to bring this in a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, that might be better. I don't know, we'll see. I can always change that towards the end. Maybe this comes out just... His hair is going to be black, so let's see. There are two things I can do. I can use black, like ivory black or Mars black, or I can use a combination of ultramarine blue and raw umber. That makes a beautiful black, that combination. And it's different than the regular black because it's got two colors in there, and it gives it more texture or depth or something. It's just a more interesting black. So I'm going to do that. So I'll use... I want to use some, I'll thin it out a little bit. All right, so this is the ultramarine blue and raw umber for the black. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but you can, I can see what would you call it, the collision maybe of these two colors as they occur on the canvas. And so in some places you'll see more raw umber, in other places you'll see more ultramarine blue, and that's what gives it a more interesting effect. With the black, it's just one color, that's it, you know. I'm putting it on pretty thin because I may go over it again. Yeah, I still, all the curls coming out here, there, here, I'll do that later. And hopefully it'll work because curls are always a problem for me. I've been trying to paint a good head of curly hair for 25 years. And I have yet to succeed, you know. I hate to admit that, but all right, so that's enough for the hair. Now let me fix up the shirt. I think I got some, what was that? That was green and something else, emerald green, just emerald green and white. I don't know, let's see. little yellow ochre. With the emerald green, see how that works, and then some white. Yeah, that looks good. Looks alright. Maybe I'll just leave it like that. I won't put the white in. That might be good. I'm always tempted to add white. I don't know why. Gives it more of a pastel look. I'm not, you know, I'm not a pastel type painter, but you know, I just, all right. See, I want to put white in there. Well, I'll do the background next. Let me do the background, and then that'll give me a better idea of if the shirt's okay the way it is. You know, for the background, already over here I've got, it looks like white with some red in there, or maybe it's just white over the red ground. I can't tell. I think, I don't know. I'm just going to put some white with a little bit of red in, cadmium red. See how that works. Ooh, that looks good. Ooh, do I like that? I don't know. I have to do. See, now here I can start going in with the brush and, you know, maybe get the effect of, not curls exactly, but, you know, something resembling that. Little pieces of hair sticking out. Ah, I got too much red in that one. Now, when I come back with this thing, I can, with a smaller brush, I can do something with the hair, with the curls. But right now, this is all you need. I just want to get some paint down. Is this too bright? Looks pretty good, actually. Now, what about the shirt? Do I want to add some white to the shirt? See, maybe I want to make the shirt a little bit darker. What if I added some Viridian green to that, just for the heck of it? See what we get. You never know what you're gonna get. I'm putting this on kind of thin. Ooh, do I like that? That looks nice. That's not bad. I'm putting this on kind of thin, very thin, the Viridian green. Ooh, that's a nice green. The Viridian green, with the emerald green and the yellow ochre. Ooh, and then that combination, see, the background that I just put in, the white with a little bit of red in it, now it really, when I put the Viridian green into the shirt, the combination of those two colors really looks great. I got lucky. I've said it before, you need to be lucky. You need to have some luck as a painter. I've said that many times. Here's a perfect example. I like that. I'll just draw the shirt a little bit. That's it for today. Pretty good. Now, when this dries, all I really need to do, I have to work on the shadows a little bit. They're a little, they're just not, I have to go over them again with that glaze, very, very thin glaze. And then I'll punch up this headlight, highlight, and maybe a little bit on the nose, some other highlights on the other side of the face. Here, I hit the lower lip a little bit. The bridge of the nose needs one right there. Underneath the eye, the cheek. There should be a shadow under this eye too. I think it's looking pretty good actually. Kind of Rembrandt-y, would you say? Well, I wouldn't go that far. But it looks good. All right, stay tuned. Okay, I'm gonna get back to this painting of my friend Joe from Buffalo. What do I want to do today? I like it so far. It's looking good. I think I want to go over the shadows a little bit more with a very, very thin glaze of the cerulean blue and the cadmium red light. I've got this medium that I like to use from time to time. It's a mixture of paint thinner, linseed oil, and polyurethane. I put it in this little squeeze bottle, and the linseed oil is good because it keeps the thinner from cutting into the paint too much. You know, if you're just using a glaze of with the paint thinner, only the paint thinner, sometimes it'll eat away at the undercoating, at the paint you already got down there. You know, that's dry. So sometimes you want to thin out the glaze with some linseed oil. I'll just squirt a little down there. And what kind of brush? I don't want too big of a brush. I want to see how this goes, so I'll use a small brush. I'll use a number 6. And sort of a kind of a reddish purple color. But I have to be careful. I have to really thin it out. A little more blue, I think. See how that goes. Yeah, there's a little too much blue there. I need more of the red. Also, the polyurethane will help it dry a little bit faster. Actually, tomorrow, this will be dry tomorrow. Yeah, it's a little too much red, I think. I don't know, we'll see. Now what I'll do is I'll clean off the brush. And I can, let's see. I don't know. I'm really not too sure what I'm doing here. Sometimes you just start painting and you're not really clear in your mind about what you're trying to do, but you're hoping for a little bit of luck, actually. That's not bad. In certain places, well, I'll put the highlight in. You know, it's not too bad. Put a little bit more red, just to see what happens. A little bit more red. I think that's what it needs. The color, a shadow should always be sort of transparent, you know? And there's always a little bit of a blue in a shadow. At least that's what I read in one of the art books once. Every shadow has a little bit of blue in it. But I don't know. See here. Needs something. Needs to be a little darker here. I'm not used to working with all this light, you know. The video, you know, I've been painting for 25 years, but I'm a complete amateur when it comes to videotaping, so I've got all these lights set up, and not really sure what they look like on the tape. It seems like there's some glare coming off from that. Maybe I have to turn this thing around. I might have to just let this dry and then do it again, you know, I don't know, I'm not sure if I like it yet. See, I got a lot of red in there now. I'm trying to decide what color I want here. Do I want more red showing? I want it more reddish or more bluish, you know. The red looks good, I think. All right. I'm going to leave it for today. And work on, what else? The rest of the face looks pretty good, actually. I got to put some eyes in there. Let's see. What about I want a little bit of scrub in a little red here. I don't know. I need more of a highlight effect. Rub that out. Now let's see what happens. I'll put in the Naples yellow. Yeah, that's nice actually. And then here. Yeah, that looks good. You know, if the highlight is too strong, you can always tone it down. That's not a problem. Yeah, it's, oh, do I like that or not? Oh, excuse me. That doesn't look right. Then, well, the mouth, I gotta do a little bit of the mouth. Let's see. It's always a highlight there. Plus I got to do the eyebrow there. You know, I'm starting to like this. I got to do something there. I got to rub out some of this shadow. And just a little bit of, what, red? Do I need some red there? And a little bit of red. You know, all right, so now I'll put in, maybe I want to just, this should not be too strong over here, I don't think. All right, that's it. There's such a thing as over painting, you know, when you try and just tweak it a little too much, and then you destroy the spontaneity. See, when I put that brush stroke down, that was just one brush stroke, but it was perfect. I have to just leave it just like that. For some reason, that works fine, you know. It was just one boom and boom. That's it. I don't have to do anything else there. This, though, I need to a little stronger, I think. All right, so, and then here, a little bit more here, I think. Nice. Now the white for the eye. For this eye, there's just a, if you can't see the photo, but there's just a little bit, just a touch of light on that side. Well, I think it's looking pretty good. Down here, Let's see. I just need to a little touch up down here. And then what happens over here? I think I have to go over a little further. Then what is the heck? Now I'm noticing a problem. I'll show you what it is. I don't know if you can see that, but where's his neck? Here's his neck here, and over here, it's here. But what is happening here? See, I think the shirt has to come, this has to be white. This has to be background, for example. I'll show you. Because here's his neck. His neck isn't doing this. And that's not part of his shirt either. So this has to do this. And then, see, the drawing is off. Let's see. The shoulder has to do this. And then the collar does this instead of this, right? Well, here, on that side, the other side, the collar's doing this. All right, so maybe the collar has to do this a little bit. Yeah, and then the neck comes down like this, right? And then this is all collar. All right, I think that's right. So, looks like I got, now what I have to do is, I have to repaint that part of the shirt, but I kind of forgot what colors. I had some emerald green, I think, and some yellow ochre, and then, I don't know, I forgot. I should probably go back and look at the tape, actually, but all right, I'll put some emerald green. Put some emerald green down. The whole color of the shirt's gonna be destroyed, but maybe I'll come up with something good anyway. Yeah, painting is exercise in improvisation. Can I tell you? All right, so I've got the emerald green. I think I put some viridian green in there too. Try that. I don't know. And maybe some yellow ochre. I don't want to put too many. Here's the yellow ochre. I see that lightens it up a little bit. I could just use the emerald green and some white. That always looks good. Oh, this looks all right. A little too much, but. You know, I'll just put a little bit of white in here. Yeah, I really like that other color, but I'll never get that back. You can never reproduce a color exactly. It's impossible, in my opinion. Unless you want to spend like, 4 years trying to do it, but that looks all right. A little bit of white, and we'll see what happens. See, I like to put the white in because then you'll see some brush strokes, Right now you can't really see. The white will have the effect of showing the brush strokes, which I always like. When you see the brush stroke, there's an energy to a painting when you see those brush strokes, I'm not saying that painters who, their paintings are very, very smooth and, how would you put it, you don't see the brush strokes, the technique doesn't use. There's some fantastic painters, like, especially the French in the 19th century, like Ingres, his paintings are fabulous, That looks good, that looks fine. So, I just have to redraw the collar. And the hair, it's got a lot of curl. Let me show you. He's got very curly hair, which always drives me nuts. Let me get a little closer. Like here, all these little curly things here and there, which I don't have in my painting. And I could probably, if I really wanted to spend the time, fool around with that. The way to do that is, I think the technique for doing that is you put in the head, and then you with a background color. There's the background color in this painting is white with some cadmium red light. So if I take that color, for example, over here he's got there's a curl. It's a curl like this, and then this does this, and then see, here are the curls. I'll draw well, maybe this will work, maybe I'll get lucky here. Draw a couple of curls. There's a curl there, and then there's another curl there, and then this comes down a little further, I think. Okay, so here are some curls, and up here what happens? So I'll just take a little white paint and go like this, and then like that, and I've got a curl, right? And then down here, it's not that hard. It's not that hard, and it's good. Up here, I'll leave that. Ah, nice. Okay, and then on the other side, I tried to do that just by throwing, with the big brush. So I'll just do the same thing here. I'm looking at the painting. It's got a little curl there, and then this comes like this. These are like, yeah. I don't want to overdo it, That looks good. Okay, and then I'll just do the same thing with the white paint, come in, you know. Nice. Okay. It's great. Okay, now I got to draw. I have to redraw the shirt, the collar, and then what else? I got to put an eyeball in. There's a little. What's happening with his eye? His left eye. I've got to put some shadow in there. It's you can, you know, this, it needs more shadow there, I think. Yeah. All right. Because all this is in shadow. So what do I have to do? I have to give him an eyeball and redraw the shirt. Okay. So I have to remember when I have to always remind myself to show in the camera what I'm doing on the canvas, because you know I had the camera up here and I was about to redraw the collar on the shirt, and all of a sudden I remembered that maybe I should show them the shirt while I'm drawing it, you know. That's happened a few times. Let's see. All right. So we'll start here. And this. This. Is that right? Yeah, looks good. Some of the shadow, the glaze is starting to run. I don't know if you can see that. It's because it's very thin, you know. That's right. Okay, what else? Yeah, I almost did it again. I'm gonna redraw the eye. I'll give him an eyeball too while I'm at it. I should wait for that white paint to dry before I give him the eyeball, but maybe I could do it right now. You never know what it's going to look like when you put that eyeball in. Oh, that looks good. You never know. He looks very like he's deep in thought, you know. God knows what he's thinking about. Well, I know what he's thinking about if I know him. Not bad. There's only one thing left to do. To sign my name. Alright, where should I sign it? I always sign it along some horizontal line in the painting. I don't sign it down, you know, I don't sign it at the bottom like some do. I like to use some sort of horizontal line, usually shoulder in a portrait or something. I'll do it over here. Sometimes I have to, I'm not happy with my signature and I have to do it over. I have to rub it out and do it over. But this looks all right. Aha! Okay. Well, ready for the museum, as I like to say. But, okay, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.